It's all good. So, yeah, I've known Kerry for such a long time that I think you get to a stage where you think she can't be lovely all the time. Is it possible, Leah, to be lovely all the time?
Absolutely. The reason being, firstly, it's a personality. But if you have a system where you want to be the best person you can in the world, you can be lovely all the time. And it comes naturally, but you've got to work at it and be conscious. And I agree with Kerry. That was my first point of attraction. Her kindness, it just, just stood out. And a kind person always stands out.
That's great. Well, we've spoken enough about Kerry. We don't want to talk to Kerry all day. I did mention earlier on, but I think I was muted before. I got your name wrong. I said Shmerling, and you said no, it's Shmerling. And what was the origin again of Shmerling?
Firstly, I married into the name, and it's a German name, and the family is European. So I should have known I was going to be a Schmerling because when I went to kindergarten, just yesterday, of course.
Yeah, of course.
A family friend took me to school, and his name was Schmerling. And if I had insight, I would have known I would end up as a Schmerling.
No way. Really?
Yeah, really. And it's my husband's family.
No way. So you've known your husband since kindy kind of thing?
Not him, the
Not
family.
him.
Oh, this is even more interesting.
Yeah.
Because this is really quite personal, but it's okay to share it. When I had my first date with my husband in those days, the man came in and introduced himself, and of course I introduced him to my mother. And my mother said, like, what Schmerling are you? And I thought I was going to fall through the floor. This is within the first 1 minute. I couldn't understand why my mother would say that because she was not a typical mother, let me tell you, in a good way. And she goes, what Schmerling are you? As it turned out, the families all knew each other from, the war European days. And, way back to the grandparents and aunts, and my grandfather actually, I'm Jewish, proudly, and my grandfather actually bar mitzvahed his brother. So the next day, his mother rings up my mother. She couldn't quite place her, and the reason being she knew my mother as a 6-year-old. And then my husband thought, uh-oh, this is the beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end. Where did you grow up?
In Australia. I've been here all my life.
Yeah. But are you Sydney based or Melbourne based?
No, Melbourne. You can't see the Melbourne in me.
I can't see the Melbourne in you. Maybe I can. Maybe I can. What's it like down there? I mean, we hear so much up in Queensland that we hear what's going on in Victoria. Apparently, you can't have gas if you're going to build a new house now. So that's going to be one. Yeah, is that crazy?
Crazy. Gas is. I mean, we have a lot of gas.
Yeah.
Also, we were the lockdown capital. Hay fever, capital of the world, 5 seasons in one day. But it's the most livable city in the world. It's just calm, people are friendly, easygoing. Like, it's a really good place to live.
The most livable city in the world. That's a far stretch. I think I'd go to Norway before I'd go to Melbourne. But then again, you do have five climates in one day, don't you?
Yeah. Anyone who comes to Melbourne, you've got a layer. And then when you go overseas, the Melbourneites always have their puffy jackets.
Yes. Now, of course, you don't have the Commonwealth Games happening down there either now. No, so, gosh, I won't be coming down to Melbourne for my sporting fixture and do my judo in the Masters Games. No, I won't be doing that.
Bit of bad luck.
Yeah. So let me ask you about you. So I'm looking here. So you've got Leah Shmerling. You're the founder and principal consultant. There's your email address if people want to spam you. and there's your website if people want to find out where they can find out more about the information. So it's careercoaching.training. Let's go way back when. So you obviously grew up in Melbourne. You went to school. You finished. Did you finish year 12?
No, I did.
Yep.
This is the interesting point. Yes, I am the founder and principal consultant. But at year 11, I was asked to leave school, which is a bit disappointing because the teachers thought, bless you,
Thank you.
Because the teachers thought I should be a secretary. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I know it's a little bit of Seinfeld there. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it didn't suit my personality. I was incredibly lucky that I had amazing career advice. And the career counsellor said, no, I'm actually too intelligent to leave school, continue on. And I did my year 12 and then got into Melbourne Uni, first round, first preference. And the rest is history, which is a bit of a story why I became a career counsellor and career coach, because it shows how important good career advice is, because it really gave me my life. It opened up my life to what I'm compatible, what I'm absolutely passionate about. I realize we all have boundaries and barriers to overcome. And when you get this amazing insight and advice, it gives people a really good, not only career, but a good life. And that's why I'm so passionate, because if I can give someone a good life, it's the greatest gift for me and for them. And that's really the history.
But what I find interesting, Leah, is you don't just come out of, you don't come out of high school and then you go, you know what, I want to be a career counsellor, and then all of a sudden, or a coach and a mentor is what you are. You don't just walk into a position. What sort of tertiary education do you need if someone's listening to this and they're saying, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to go down the path that Leah is on, but I just actually don't know where to start. What's a good stepping stone?
Well, firstly, you need to have an undergraduate qualification, and that's what I've got. Then I did my DipEd. I didn't even think about careers, to be honest. My mother always said, well, why don't you be a teacher? And I every year said, no, I don't want to be a teacher. Till I had my family, and then I sort of thought a bit more rationally. I thought, oh, there's no reason not to be a teacher. So I taught for a number of years, and then decided I wanted to do a career counselling course. I did it at Deakin University. It is a postgrad course. So I've got a postgraduate diploma in career development, and then a master's in education and training. I think, honestly, you need to be well qualified and experienced, because of the sensitivity of dealing with people, and everyone's an individual, but also, the sensitivity of their career, their life, their earning capacity. A lot of people see their career and there is their self-esteem also attached to it. So you can't just do it willy-nilly.
No.
Saying that, how I got into the business, if it's okay I share that, is because, as I said, career counselling could only be studied at university as a counsellor, not as a coach. Unfortunately, that's unregulated, which is a spot of bother for me. So I decided and realised that people may want to be a career coach, not a counsellor, and need to study. And I wrote my first course actually in the career coaching, the whole program. It's a Cert 4 level. And it opened up the door to my current business.
So you wrote a course on career coaching and counselling. So how does that, what does that look like? I mean, is that an online course? Is it a book? Is it, so which one is it? What do we got?
Okay, so it's a certificate for in career development. The course is now superseded because you have to keep upgrading it.
Of course.
But at the same time, I realised it was a bit clunky, because most government programs are quite repetitious in terms of content and assessment. So I pulled out, the really good meaty bits, and decided to write a full program. It's of 11 individual courses, and I was teaching career counselling, career coaching at tertiary level, and so I added a lot of the additional theories and content to make it the best possible course. And because I'm passionate about career coaching, career counselling, I knew that I could guide students well.
That's I love the way that you kind of like you used your experience from your school days, where you had the teacher or your careers or the guidance counsellor had said to you, you got to go in the typing pool, and we want you to be a secretary. Nothing wrong with that, as you said, but that was the wrong kind of information that you got. So they really didn't look at your individual skills and abilities. They just went, well, and I'm going to be quite sexist here. So we're looking back in the 70s, 80s, but maybe late 70s. We're probably looking at, well, you're a woman and the best place to put you is in secretarial work. I don't know if I'm being sexist here. I'm just saying that was probably where a good majority of women went, was in that field, or they went into nursing, or they went into healthcare or childcare. Would that be a good assumption?
Yeah, it is, and most people are quite limited. But what's interesting, firstly, it was the teachers that suggested that path for me, but they're not even qualified career counsellors. Yeah. And real counselling is about facilitating, so you work in collaboration with the client rather than tell them, go and do this. And nowadays you can actually be sued for it.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I didn't know that. So it's obviously very heavily regulated. But I did hear you say that coaching isn't regulated. So anyone can be a coach. And you see that online, become a coach and, you can woo the world and join my $1 million coaching experience. And that's not regulated. Would you like to see that area regulated?
Yeah. Look, absolutely. For the reasons I said, it's very sensitive. You need to be respectful to clients and really work in their best interest. It is their life. It is their self-esteem. It is their earning capacity all at stake.
Now, am I wrong in seeing that I saw something on your website that you're like the creator of thousands of books and online workshops and online courses? Did I see something like that, or did my eyes blur? What have you got in the way of how many courses have you written, published? What do you got out there?
Great question. Thank you. So I wrote a couple of books, and the first book came about by accident, Job Applications, The Winning Edge, because somebody asked me to facilitate a course in job seeking. At the time, there was nothing around. So to facilitate a course, you need course notes. And I'm writing, and I thought, God, these are really a lot of notes for just a half-day program. And then I sort of had a little laugh to myself, this might as well be a book. And then I said, what did I just think? And so it was Christmas Eve, and I sent the manuscript, it was nearly finished, to Macmillan Education. And very early in January, they actually contacted me. They wanted to publish the book. And then they commissioned me, and that book sold internationally to editions. Then they commissioned me to write a second book, which was Communication in the Workplace. And that was on competency-based training. Now everyone knows what competency-based training is. But when I wrote it, there was nothing around. I had to have a lot of training to understand what is competency-based training. So I used quite a bit of foresight to write that book. It's a really, I've got to say, it's a really good book that stands the test of time. And then as an author, I was frequently quoted in newspapers, which is very nice when you're quoted. And one day I had a very funny thought, gee, maybe I should write the articles and get paid. And then I sort of thought again, what was I just thinking? And I wrote for the Herald Sun in Victoria, and then had my own column in education. But I like to write something a little bit more meaty. And for many, many years, I wrote for The Age, again, a Victorian newspaper. So really just love that experience of many people and the content. And I've got to say, writing always come very naturally to me.
I want to bring up something that I think there's a banner behind you and you've got Path 2, and I want to bring this up here, and I think this is what it is here. It's the Path to Future Success. And if you can walk me through what this means. So on the bottom I can see that you've got the foundation, then there's intermediate, then advanced, then leadership, and then mastermind. Do you want to walk me through the steps? And I can see a person's crawling, and then of course they hit self-actualization. They're at the top there. walk me through this. I'll leave this up on the screen for a little while. It'll blank my face out. That's okay. But talk me through what this means.
Okay. All right. So as I said, I've written about 140 courses in a range of themes such as the careers, the workplace challenges, the personal development, the enterprise.
Yep.
So you need to do something with it. Like, you see a whole lot of courses. So we have, and we've only done it recently, so it's actually quite hot off the press. We've categorized the courses into these levels, into the foundation, intermediate, as you said, advanced, leadership, mastermind, so that students enroll in a course that's suitable for their level, which is really important because when you study a course, you know, some of it's hit and miss. So this way, there's a lot more certainty that the course is at their level of what they want and their career, and you call it job maturity, which is, you know, different to personal maturity, their job maturity, how long they've been in the workforce, and their skill development. But this also has another purpose, which is what I really, really like. If you progress, most of the time you think, yeah, I've progressed, but it's not concrete. You can't see your progress. So if you start off at foundation, which is really the very beginning, which is probably the best level to be at, and you want to grow, learn, develop, right? You start off there, but then let's say over time you get to advanced and then leadership. All of a sudden, this is a point of measurement where this is where I started and this is where I'm at now. So you can see your achievement. It becomes something you're proud of. You can see your progress, your implementation of skill development. Each one of these levels has a different meaning. So all of a sudden, the definition of you and your application of the learning is also quite evident. So this becomes quite a powerful model. And I love the title, The Path to Future Success. So success isn't something that you're born with or you work for it in 5 minutes. It's a whole path. And, you know, you've got the guidance there. And it's a step-by-step gradual approach, which is the journey. Now, I don't want it to sound linear because life is certainly not linear. But at least you've got a great pathway. And I love the different pictures, and thanks for pointing out the different pictures. It starts off, you know, where you're just small and you're building yourself up to, you know, that whole mastermind, the leadership, where you can be really proud.
Can you tell me, so I'm gonna put you on the spot here. It's the old age question. Are leaders made or born? And I'm going to answer half the question for you because I can see here that you would say, well, if they take on a program such as this one here, The Path to Future Success, and we get to a leadership, then we can make a leader. You can come from nothing. You can have very limited skills, but the terminology of leaders and leadership is something that we can certainly learn. Or do you think that there are some people who have innate qualities that just once they are out in this wonderful world, that they are born to be leaders? Because you can see them and you go, she's going to be a leader. Look at her.
Yep. It's true. I mean, there's the formal leadership, which is the title, the recognition. It's bestowed on you by the organisation. It could be an industry group, etc. Also, you have the informal leaders, and I think that's what you were referring to, where people have qualities that others recognise, and they come to them for advice, for guidance, you know, to be the mouthpiece in particular situations. But leadership is also a combination of what you're born with and your training, your development, you know, because people, we've all got skills and qualities, but they need to be massaged to become really effective leaders, such as the listening skills, the communication skills, building rapport, dealing with conflict, negotiation skills. You know, they need to be fine-tuned.
Have you got any good examples of people who are famous or infamous that you would consider to have great leadership qualities, so that somebody can say, you know, I might turn to this person, read their book, see what they're on about, because Leah has recommended that this person is someone who really epitomizes a good leader. Have you got any good examples of them?
I do follow Simon Sinek. For me, he is a great leader, and there's certain qualities he possesses that I really like. And also Lewis Howes. I follow him and Stephen Covey. The reason being because they're open and honest, and I think as a leader, that is the most admirable quality. I don't say it lightly. Sometimes people, they speak, in that social talk. And then you sort of come away thinking, what the hell are they talking about? But, a real leader is transparent. They say things gently, tactfully. They guide people. They open doors. They're supportive. For me, it's always about kindness because you have to model really good behavior. And Simon and Lewis, they represent these qualities. You also need insight and what I call higher level thinking. Unless you have higher level thinking, you're at the same level as everyone else and you're not showing that guidance. So you need to have really well-developed analytical skills to see things that people don't see, right? That's what leadership is. And then you guide people gently so that they want to follow. Also, with my training, I recognize people have a lot in them, a lot of knowledge, experience, but they're not always aware of it. So a true leader helps people recognize their own qualities so that they're proud of them, and it's empowering. And also opens doors to facilitate something better within them.
It's interesting, the three people that you mentioned there, Simon, Lewis and Stephen Covey, those three people, they're great presenters also. They're great orators. They're great at public speaking. They know how to get a message across. So, and I think one of the things that I look at with a good leader is that how do they can string a sentence together, how do they communicate, how they can interact and maybe use the power of influence and persuasion and maybe be able to get the person to, when they speak their message, that the person sits up and they go, that's a great message. So even those three people that you mentioned have got some great skills in presenting. And I think one of the people that I listen to, Warren Buffett, one of the things that he had said is that if you ever want to be a great leader in any leadership role, the first thing you've got to master is the master of public speaking. What do you think about that comment?
Totally. And again, you can be trained in public speaking or presentation skills. And yes, we have a course in presentation skills. Why wouldn't I as a teacher?
Yeah.
But also, I think when you are passionate, it comes through, and that's what you want. But also when you are honest, you can say things as it is. You don't have to sort of fumble in your brain, what's the best way of saying it? So presentation isn't just having the technical skills. Obviously, that's a part of it. But it's your passion, your commitment to what you're talking about. You are the expert as a leader, so you need to show expertise. But when you're open and honest, I think you can give a very clear message that people get. Sometimes you listen to people and you go, oh my God, I'm really not sure what they're on about. So even though they have the formal leadership, in some ways they lose people as well because they don't get them.
So how do you differentiate, or how do you communicate to a person when a person is, say for example, in my field here, I'm all about de-escalating a potentially hostile situation. So it's a little bit higher than a person that's just chewing gum or has bad breath or has body odor. So the difference in communication would be quite different. But how do you communicate to a person what they're doing is inappropriate, but using tact rather than truth? And I think one of the examples that I want to give is that there might be a person who's sitting opposite you in a workshop and that person seems disinterested. They always seem to interject with amusing stories which isn't really relevant to the subject matter, but they want to be known as that person that is, I'm a high extroverted person and I need to be heard and I need to be seen. How would you by using that differentiation between the truth and the tact, because the way I would handle it would be something like sit down and shut up. No, I wouldn't. It would be similar to that, you've had enough now, you've had enough of your time, we need to now move to other people. What would your suggestion be on how you calm a person down who's taking up too much of the floor time?
This is a bit of a tricky one, which is why you asked. Firstly, as a teacher, facilitator, you really have to appreciate input, right? So when people share with you, you say thank you, because no one has to share, and that's how you get an open culture, which is what you want in a learning environment. But then, as a teacher, facilitator, educator, we all bring our values, and my value is very much that a session, a group is for everyone, and therefore everyone needs to contribute. Now, some contribute more, some contribute less. But in the introduction, I say exactly what I've just said. This is a session for everyone. It's great to hear from everyone. Feel free to communicate. And then sort of people understand, I'm talking too much or talking too little. But sometimes I'd actually say, look, thanks very much. How about we hear from, and then you can either invite someone or open it up to the floor. Is there anyone else who would like to share their experience? So you've got to be gentle and tactful, because you don't want to shut anyone down, because once you shut them down, firstly, you don't know if that's going to be a trigger for them. But then, they can be shut down and not speak. But then that becomes an example for other people not to speak, because they'll think, the culture is non-acceptance, I will be shut down. You've really got to tread a very fine line.
Yeah, I think that's great. There is a massive difference between, having assertive language and having then a little bit aggressive language. And some people think aggressive language must mean that I'm going to be using swear words and I'm going to demean the person. But really, for me, aggressive language is that I don't have the opportunity to let the person know that I respect what they're saying, but they've also have to respect what I'm saying. So that's assertive language. When you take that away, then you've just got aggressive. And then on the other side, you've got submissive language, which is, whatever you want to say, you can speak for 2 hours. It doesn't matter. We'll waste our time here today. But I'm guessing that's not going to happen where you are. So your business itself, where do you see it going? Like, this is a great HR question if I was interviewing you. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? But what is the path for this sort of career? Because if somebody's looking at it, they're young, they're 18, they're 20, they're looking at, this is exactly what I want to do, but is there longevity in this business?
There is. It's interesting, because when I started writing, I just did it naturally because I wanted to teach people to be the best career counsellors. So I was writing full courses. It's only now the micros are fashionable. So you've got to then start writing micro courses as well. So there is longevity, but you need to be very, very flexible and agile and adjust to the marketplace and not take yourself too seriously. And if something works, you keep doing it. If something doesn't work, then you stop doing it, or, you've got to know why. Maybe there are parts of it. You really, again, there's that higher level thinking. But you've got to really love what you do and passionate, because, you've got to be resilient, because you go through some pretty tough times and you meet people that, can be pretty tough on you for no reason, or don't respond. And, they said they'll respond.
Yes.
So there is longevity in it, but you've got to be aware of the mindset every moment. You've got to surround yourself with positive, supportive, amazing people. I'm incredibly lucky. I can't believe my luck. But they will say you attract like-minded people. I have been surrounded by amazing people. The first one is my husband. I could never do what I'm doing without his support. But, we have a team of editors, not just one editor, a team of editors, because every single word that I write gets edited a number of times. So there's not even a full stop out of place. You have to have the visuals. You then have to have the uploads. Then we do video recording. So, it's a whole saga here. So what I've realized, I started because I like writing, but then not so much the technical side. And that's where having that kind of support and be multi-skilled, recognize your strengths and weaknesses is a real help.
It's interesting you mentioned...
Sorry, you asked the second part, which is where I see myself going. But go on.
Yeah, go on. No, finish with that one.
Yeah. Because it's online, the goal is, and in fact I do have a business partner, is to take it global, because online means anyone could always study, could always learn, could always attend webinars, do career coaching sessions.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier on, you said you consider yourself to be very lucky. I'm not sure I like that word, lucky. If you were to base any career and go, look, you've got to have an element of luck in your career. That's a portion of the qualities that I would look down and go, I actually don't want luck. I see luck, correct me if I'm wrong, I see luck where persistence meets opportunity, where you're always doing what you're doing. Like this is a great example here. We're doing a little podcast here. We're chatting. You're talking about your business. So you're persistent about getting involved in making stuff like this happen. And the opportunity came along when we met on the lounge with Kerry not that long ago. And an opportunity came up that would never have eventuated if you weren't doing what you were doing on the lounge with Kerry. And then I didn't come along and said, hey, do you want to come and do this? So would you see that, is this for you, I'm lucky that I'm with Gerald, or no, there was an opportunity that raised its ugly head and I pounced on it?
Yeah. Look, it's a combination of both. It is certainly preparation. No one sees the behind the scenes, the work. There are opportunities, and you also need to create opportunities. Because if you're not out there, if you're not networking, then nothing really comes your way. You are so correct with that. But also, you need to be lucky, and I do believe I am lucky. I've got a whole life experience with understanding and having gratitude for my luck. So, for example, why I say I'm lucky, I ran a training course, and I met then one of the participants. And she said to me, look, I know someone who can actually help you with the business, who does the marketing side of it. I thought, wow. Obviously, I'd love to meet the person, and I was introduced. Now, that was just sheer luck. It came my way. And then, of course, this person's heavily involved in my business. Hi, Karina. She does all my uploads and, really my backbone, and, gives me quite a lot of advice. But also where I'm lucky, as I said, writing came really naturally to me, that, an editor just contacts me, can you write 3 articles for newspapers? Like that was my introduction to freelance journalism. My book was picked up, very quickly, like sent it off Christmas Eve, everything closes, and very early January, I had Macmillan as a publisher. So, I mean, there's certain luck that does come your way. I met Kerry, and I'm really thankful I did, because I submitted one of my programs, how to develop from face-to-face to online facilitation, which I have certified through ILP. And that's how I met Kerry, and then the opportunities opened up to me. But I met Kerry through networking. So you've also got to be open, lucky, they say being in the right place at the right time. And then, of course, meeting you in the podcast.
Here we go. And you're lucky that you've met me. Or I'm lucky and privileged to meet you. And that's the great thing about me just doing something like this. One, it just gives opportunities for people who want to say, well, this is my business. And if somebody can see an in to get a hold of you, look, your email address is down there and your website is down there. They can simply contact you, and it make it a lot easier. That those networking functions where you had, the cheese and crackers and the little canapes and a little wine. Those days are still there, but we're moving with the times. So talk to me more about now as we start to wrap this up. What would be a great piece of single advice that you would like to give anyone that's moving into their career that you think, oh, if I had this information when I was in my 20s, this would really have helped me?
Sure. Anything you do, you need to love, you need to be passionate about. In fact, that's what Steve Jobs says. You know, if you haven't found what you love, then just keep looking. Because, you know, when you're passionate, you do the very best work you can. You become incredibly lucky because your work isn't just work. It's sheer enjoyment and how you choose to spend your time. And in fact, you get into flow where you don't recognize how much time has flown. But it also means you have got skills in that area, which is why you're passionate. You want to work hard, but also the message is ongoing development, because life moves pretty quickly. You need to update your knowledge and skills. And they say lifelong learning for lifelong earning. And I think there's a really strong message in that. And, you know, my life motto is trust the process, enjoy the process, because we don't always know what's ahead. But when you trust it, you just go through it, and, you know, you just sort of treat it as a fun, and, you know, it's light, it's fluffy, but there's also the heavy, the analytical reflection behind the scenes. I love people. I get on well with people, and, you know, it's a journey. Hey, I'll have a chat. Why not?
Yeah, that's it. And look, I've heard that our life has already been mapped out for us. So if I walk out the door here and I decide to turn left, it's already been mapped out for me. And so where I'm going to head is just a portion of, you know, the steps that I'm taking, because, like you say, the journey has already been, you know, it's already there for us. So I want to end up with maybe, I've never thought of this except for just now, maybe some quick fire questions at you. And it's about preferences. Okay, let's see how we go. Multiple choice. All you have to do is answer either or. Your preference, cats or dogs?
Dogs, but neither.
Neither. You're not an animal person. Birds? Are you
No, not at all.
Birds?
I
No.
have children
Rats?
and grandchildren.
Oh,
Sorry?
children and so children or grandchildren. Okay, so all right, yes. So preference would have been a dog if you had to have an opportunity to dog. Okay, preference for holidays, seaside or countryside?
Seaside.
Is that all the time?
Yeah, generally.
Yeah.
To me, walking along the beach is heaven.
Is heaven. Okay, stay with destination, domestic or international?
Domestic.
Domestic.
I know it's a bit boring.
Okay. Housework or gardening?
Oh my God, housework, never gardening.
Okay. Let me go two more. Let me see. Would you prefer fireside or air conditioning?
Fireside.
So-
Air conditioning's not good for allergies.
Okay. And last one, would you prefer camping or glamping? We'll go glamping. Would you prefer glamping or 5-star hotel?
5-star.
Oh, right. See, if I was a psychologist now, I'd be sitting down here and I'd be going, oh, no, hang on, I can put you in a little box. In fact, I should get Mary on here, and Mary would say, oh, I know what your personality trait is. Because Mary was...
I'm a Leo.
You're a Leo?
I'm a Leo. Stands out a mile.
Oh, my God, so am I. So when's your birthday?
18. When's yours?
19.
Are you joking?
I'm not joking.
My husband and I were married on the 21st of August. On my 21st.
Go the Leos. All the Leos are
Yes.
out.
Birthday's coming up.
We can tell. Yeah, we can tell by personalities. Leah, it's great having you on here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gerald.
And if anyone wants to contact Leah, look, all the information is there. Give yourself a plug, Leah. Tell us where they can find you. It's all written down there anyway.
Career Coaching and Training website, www.careercoaching.training, and my email address is there. So be great to hear from you.
It'd be good to hear from you. And everyone that's been watching this, thank you so much for your support. And if you'd like to join me on a podcast, all you have to do is contact me. Look, I've got my follow me on LinkedIn. Just drop me a line and I will have you on just like we've had Leah on. Leah, thanks very much. We'll talk to you again. I'll see you on Friday on the lounge, won't I? Hopefully.
You will.
You will.
Bye.
I'll see you then. Bye, Leah.